Alright, so what's going on, guys? It's Trev back again here to do my Fedor versus Silva post-fight thoughts, afterthoughts. Wow, man, just wow. First of all, I'll start off by saying great night of fights, awesome heavyweight action. Andrei Arlovsky, I don't know, man. I don't know. Sergey hits hard. There's no doubt about it. I mean, Sergey can knock out any fighter, anybody. Doesn't matter who you are. Sergey can knock you out if he hits you. But this is Andrei Arlovsky's. I think it's his fourth straight loss. Fourth straight losses. Four straight losses for Andrei Arlovsky. So I think for him it really is time. He's gotta look for something, or maybe his career is over. I mean, if you fight the way he fights, which is mainly a striker and not really a wrestler at all, and you can't take a shot, and you just go to sleep after one or two shots from one of the any heavyweight fighter, because right now at this point he's shown that if any of these guys hit him, he's going to sleep. So if that's the case, I mean, you either have to change your game and start wrestling with these guys so they can't hit you, or look for something else, man. Open up your own gym or do something else, because it's just not working. Sergey Kharitonov, definitely a huge threat for this tournament. We'll be looking at the winner of Rogers and Barnett, who I believe will be Barnett, and that should be a really good matchup. He could knock Barnett out, but I think Barnett's wrestling should come into play there. But let's talk about the the fight between Fedor and Big Foot. So definitely, Big Foot posed a huge threat to Fedor because of his size. He's got literally probably 50 pounds on Fedor. When he's not cutting down and he's hydrated. Probably around that, 50 to 60 pounds on Fedor. I mean, it's just crazy. Think of any other weight division in mixed martial arts. Think of like light heavyweight. 50 pounds more than, or lightweight, let's say. 50 pounds more than a lightweight would be a light heavyweight. Can you imagine a lightweight fighting a light heavyweight? No, of course not. You would never imagine that, and that's the difference that you're dealing with here. You're dealing with the difference between a lightweight and a light heavyweight fighter. But in the difference between Fedor and Silva, I mean, it's just amazing the difference between these two guys, that they'd be in the same cage together. I mean, it's crazy. Did I expect this? Of course not. I don't think anybody expected this. Bigfoot was kind of supposed to be the guy for Fedor to sort of, I don't want to say walk through, but to get through to be able to fight Alistair. And unfortunately, that's not the case. It's not going to happen. So, I mean, Bigfoot is a huge challenger in this. He could very well lose to Overeem, and he probably will. But definitely, when that guy gets on top of you, Fedor was underneath him, and he couldn't do anything, man. He couldn't even shake him off. I mean, you got 280 or 90 pounds of resistance or more, because he's resisting, on you, and you're going to try to shake him off, especially if you're a 230-pound guy, maybe on a 210-pound guy's frame, if he didn't have some of that fat. To be able to try to push a guy like that off, I mean, God, that's a lot of weight to have on you. It's just not going to happen. His only hope would have been to last out the round, and which he did, and go into the next round, and that seemed to go okay. But then, of course, how bad did he get smashed up? Well, his face was bad. His eye was closed. His right eye could not see. His head was black and purple. From every one of those gorilla hammer fists that Bigfoot landed. I mean, what a massive guy. Even in the beginning, I looked at the difference. Bigfoot's the biggest guy in the tournament, and Fedor's the lightest guy in the tournament. So, it doesn't look good. And Fedor, like I said in my prediction video, when I did pick Fedor, and I was wrong, I was saying, Fedor really needs to start working on his strength, because he's losing weight. He's consistently lost weight since his days in Pride, and, slowly but surely, and he hasn't worked on his strength enough. These guys are going to manhandle him. They're going to throw him around. They're going to take him down when they want to, like Bigfoot did for the most part. Not always. I mean, Fedor, I think, was able to reverse one takedown there. But, generally speaking, yeah. I mean, these guys are too big for him. It's just the fact of the matter. They're especially Bigfoot, way too big for him. If they were the same size, would you pick Bigfoot? Of course you wouldn't. Because as far as skills and technique go, well, he's standing up, you would think. But I mean, even that, like if you looked at the fight, the first round they were trading quite a bit. Fedor wasn't beating him in the stand-up. It was even, if anything, And Big Foot was landing some good shots. There was one where Fedor got hit with, I think it was a right hand, right straight, and he backed straight up as if he was to dodge it, but he didn't dodge it. He just ate it and backed straight up. And then after that, he kind of, he backed up a few steps and let Big Foot off the cage, because he got hit with a good one. So, this is very surprising because Doom did beat Bigfoot. I mean, what does that say about Fedor's career at this point? At this point, I think that we're starting to see definitely the end, the end of the career. I mean, he has re-signed, Fedor has re-signed a contract with them. I don't know how many fights, if it's 5 or 6 fights, I don't know, but the biggest loser in this whole, even more so than the fans in this whole situation, is Strikeforce. They put all this work around building this huge tournament. 45% of the people thought, they showed it in the before the fight, thought that Fedor would win the whole tournament. The whole tournament, they thought he would win. I didn't think he was going to win the whole tournament, but I definitely thought he was going to win this fight. By a pretty good margin, but didn't seem to happen. Is this the end for him? No, I think he's got a contract, so he's going to have more fights. Will he ever be on top again? No. There's no question about it. He hasn't changed his training regimen. He's still training Sambo all the time. When you saw on the ground too, he didn't really look very comfortable being on his back. As he used to. He seemed to be more comfortable before. He didn't throw up any arm bars or try anything like that like he used to. Of course, Bigfoot's a big man to have on top of you. But Hongman Choi, he was able to throw an arm bar on Hongman Choi, and he's even bigger than Bigfoot. So, I don't really know what to say if it's that he's not training. I mean, who knows, right? Who knows what's going on with him? But he definitely needs to cut this Sambo shit out and, realize I either have to drop down to light heavyweight, I freaking cut down a little bit, go on a diet for a couple months, and there you go, 205, boom, right there. That's it. I mean, a lot of these guys, Rampage couldn't take that fight with Shogun because, he's walking around at 250, the report said, or he said. He said he's walking around at 250, and he fights at 205. Are you telling me that Fedor at 230 could not drop down? He should be dropping down. There's no question about it. He shouldn't be fighting at that weight. You should be at the top of the weight, whatever it is, or close to it. Within, as a heavyweight, you shouldn't weigh less than 245. If you weigh less than 245, that's 40, 30, 50 pounds of weight that a Brock Lesnar or a Bigfoot are going to have on you. Those guys get on top of you. What are you going to do? You can't get them off you. You can't lift that. I don't know about you guys, but if you guys try to bench, 300 pounds without resistance, I mean, do you know how hard that is? Like, especially when you're in a fight and you're tired after a little while. If you're weighing 230 pounds, that's not easy. You just can't do it, man. It's just, it's just not going to work. So Fedor definitely has to change something. Do I think he will? Probably not. He's got a lot more fights left, so hopefully he'll either cut. I think the best thing to do would be cut down to light heavyweight, fight at light heavyweight, and he'll be smoking everybody. But as far as fighting at heavyweight, he either has to gain 20 pounds of muscle, okay? He has to. He has no choice. To deal with these guys, he's got to gain 20 pounds of muscle, and he's got to stop training just Sambo. He's got to go and train jiu-jitsu. And he's got to, the guys nowadays, the fighters are becoming so good, they're complete mixed martial artists, Bigfoot, he'll stand with you and put his weight against you, wrestle you down to the ground, and then he's a black belt in Brazilian jiu-jitsu. Pass your guard, and this is what these days, you can't just do one. Fedor said in an interview before this fight that he's still training Sambo, and he thinks it's the best sport in the world to train for mixed martial arts. Well, yeah, maybe by itself, but fighters aren't training just one mixed martial arts nowadays. They're training not just one martial art nowadays. They're training for mixed martial arts. They're training for everything. They're training for jiu-jitsu. They're training for wrestling. They're training for, even guys like Frank Mir, he's training wrestling because he realizes that, just being able to do submissions and boxing is not enough. You got to be a complete mixed martial artist. You have to be able to do all these things. And every fighter now is able to do that pretty much. Except for guys like, Brock Lesnar. You see a hole in his game, and what's going to happen now? Every fighter who fights him is going to, exploit that hole that he can't stand up until he fixes that. So Fedor, we got to see him on his back a bit. He didn't have anything really for for Bigfoot. You know, the size was too much for him, and you know, we could either be seeing the beginning of the end if something doesn't change, or you know, I don't even know what to say past that. Anyway, those are my thoughts. I thought it was a great night, great event. Unbelievable. I think this is the winding down now. Let me know what you guys think about this. You know, it's the second loss in a row for Fedor, a guy that didn't lose for 10 years straight almost. Tell me what you think about it. I want to know what you guys think. Let's talk about it. All right. See you guys. Peace.